College basketball tips off in just over a week, and expectations once again high in the borough. Middle Tennessee winning NCAA tournament games each of the past 2 seasons, and recently drew college basketball insider Jon Rothstein to campus for practice, where I caught up with him to preview the hoop season and how Middle became a must-stop on his preseason tour.
That changed during the 2016 NCAA tournament. Michigan State was a favorite picked by many people, including me, to win the national championship, and Kermit Davis and Middle Tennessee forever changed their program by knocking off the Spartans in that game. It's interesting, I was talking to Tom Izzo about that game on Tuesday when I was at Michigan State practice, and usually when you see great upsets of that magnitude in the NCAA tournament, the favorite doesn't play well and the underdog capitalizes. Michigan State played a great offensive game. Middle Tennessee was just greater.
They didn't just win that game. They came back last year, knocked off another Big Ten team in the first round. There's no Reggie Upshaw. There's no Ja'Cory Williams anymore. Can this edition of the Blue Raiders reach the same lofty heights that they've set for themselves the last couple of years?
I think if you're a betting man, you would expect Middle Tennessee to be the team to beat in Conference USA, but whether or not they can win a game in the field of 68, that depends. Can a third option emerge next to Giddy Potts and Nick King? That's the million-dollar question right now in Murfreesboro.
Last year, Middle Tennessee was pretty clearly the best team in the state of Tennessee. They beat Vanderbilt here by about 1 million, it seemed like. What do you expect from Bryce Drew's second team on West End?
Bryce Drew did a remarkable job rallying Vanderbilt last year and getting them into an 8-9 game in the NCAA tournament, one they could have won against Northwestern. So even though you don't have Luke Cornett, even though the SEC is significantly better and deeper, I still like the Doors to be right there for a bit. Bryce Drew sleeps pretty well, knowing he's got guys like Jeff Roberson and Matthew Fisher-Davis. That makes a big difference.
What about Rick Barnes on Rocky Top? His team is picked 13th in the SEC preseason. What does he have to do now in year 3 to turn this program back in the right direction?
Tennessee's returning talent was a part of some big wins last year, most notably the win against Kentucky, but I'm just curious to see how the SEC evolved. I've been on record saying I think it's a 7-bid league. I think 8's a legitimate possibility, but if you're going to see an augmented talent level in the conference, that means that it's going to be much harder to finish in that top half.
Kentucky's a team you mentioned. They're picked to win the SEC again. They're going to be a factor in March. If I put you on the spot, who's Jon Rothstein's final 4 picks?
That's an outstanding question. Michigan State, Arizona for sure, those 2. I would go Villanova, Kansas. Just Duke I have ranked number 1 because of the talent base and the ceiling of that talent base, but still yet to be determined if they can win in the NCAA tournament with that youth.
It's such an exciting time to see how it all plays out, but it seems like there's a bit of a dark cloud hanging over the start of this season because of the FBI investigation. We saw what happened with Rick Pitino and Tom Jurich at Louisville, assistants around the country. How big of a bombshell was this on college basketball?
I mean, it's the biggest college basketball story that I've seen in my lifetime, and I think it takes things to a new level when you look at under-the-table recruiting. I think everybody knew that under-the-table recruiting existed, but wiring money and attempting to commit bribery and fraud is uncharted territory for college basketball, and it's a black eye for the sport, but college basketball didn't get off its highway. It just stopped at a rest stop, and on November 10th, when the season kicks off, you better believe that it's going to be headed back in the right direction.